I'm starting to get a little crazy at this point of the year. Half the people in the class are like saying, at this point in the year? That's a joke. Now laugh. There you go. Good job, Sammy. Okay. So number 8. What do we know about number 8? What do we have to deal with? We've got a point. So that point gives me what? An x and a y. And what's going on over here? Perpendicular to that, yeah? So what's the hint from that? Opposite and negative. Well, the opposite covers the negative, and you reciprocate it. You flip the slope. So here, I got to find my slope, yeah? The easiest way to find slope is, of course, what? Get y alone. Do I even care about the 5? No, because I'm only trying to find slope, right? So 8y is going to equal negative x. Y is going to equal negative 1/8 x. Yes? Everybody's okay with that, right? Okay. Now, for perpendicular, what do I have to do to that negative 1/8? Flip it and change the sign. So the slope I need is actually positive 8, yes? So now I have a point, I have an x and a y, 3, negative 2, and I have a slope of 8. What is the best form to use when I have a point and a slope? Point-slope form. Y minus y. What's y? Right, it's negative 2 here, but it becomes positive 2 in our equation. Now, guys, all of you have watched me just write positive 2, and Sammy wrote positive 2, but you're all aware of why that is, right? Because the formula is really y minus y1, right? And minus 2 becomes positive 2. Everybody good, right? Okay. Equals m, my slope is 8, x minus, what's my x? 3. And now we're done. Now.
How far are your exams going?
I don't have one.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't there either.
Oh, smart man.
Well, I was getting my iron.
Smart man.
They tell me it'll help.
It'll help.
Oh, in case anybody cares, I can't remember if it was this class that I was talking to about. I did not get Gwen the nurse for my iron.
Did you get
Marcella.
sounded pasta?
She was nice, but she was no Gwen.
Did she look like pasta?
No, she didn't look like pasta. How would someone look like pasta?
Oh, no, her name is early pasta. Yeah.
Curly hair.
Wait, did she have like green hair, like pasta sauce?
She's like pesto. Oh. Okay, now. Once again, is this an equation for this line, or is it the equation for this line? An equation. Because we could have it in any other form, right? And on a multiple choice test, I could put the general, the standard, or the slope-intercept form, couldn't I? And then you'd have to convert that, right? I very, 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 very rarely do something that mean. Because it's useless, right? That's what, like, those, you know when you watch a movie and they make fun of math teachers for being dicks? That's the kind of move that makes people who make those movies make those movies. Okay? Okay. Speaking of movies, my little girl sent off a video audition yesterday, and they called her back last night and said, "You're so good, but we want to see one more." So, she got through the first thing. which means she may have to go to Toronto for a few weeks, and Newfoundland, which means, of course, I would have to go to Toronto and Newfoundland for a few weeks. Newfoundland, awesome. Toronto, bleh. Oh, what are you going to do? Oh, lucky me. Maybe I can tell him how much call me on your cell phone sucks. And I can take his cell phone and beat him with it. I hate that song. My son does a really good imitation of it. Call me on my cell phone. It's so funny. He hates the song as much as I do. It's hilarious. Drake. What a tool. If I did go to Toronto, I would be, if I was trying to meet anybody in Canadian music, it would be Rush, Arkells, except they're on tour. They're about to come to Vancouver, so they wouldn't be there. Arkells. They're a pretty big deal in the real music industry. Like people that play instruments and actually know how to sing and write their own songs. They're a big deal in that. But none of you listen to music like that anymore. Some of you do. I'm not saying you all listen to bad music, okay? So just calm down. Huh? You're right. There is no bad music, says the guy from Germany, the inventors of industrial techno pop. Yeah, because Rammstein is awesome. I'm just kidding, Antonio. All right. No, I like German music. Can't think of any right now. Okay. Write the equation of each line. So A, B, C, D, and E. A. Right here. How are you going to write an equation of a line that's on a graph? What are the two of the four forms are really good for this exercise? Which two? General form, standard form, point slope form, or slope intercept form? Slope intercept and point slope. Absolutely right. So let's look at A. Are you going to use point slope or are you going to use slope intercept? You'd use slope intercept for A. That's the intercept. Is that a particularly good intercept? Why? Because it's right in the middle, yeah? So you're not going to use slope intercept for A. What are you going to use? I would use point slope. So then all you got to do is find any point and the slope, right? I like that and that. Everybody okay with that? So what's my slope? 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And then, can I use either of those points to do point slope? Does it matter which one I do? So that one is -2, 3, right? And what's this one? +2, 4. I can use either of them, can't I? So it's going to be y minus 3 equals 1/4 x plus 2, or y minus 4 equals 1/4 x minus 2. Does everybody see how that works? Yeah? Okay. Now, I'm only erasing because the graph gets really messy if I try to do all 5 of them on the graph. So B, what are we going to use for B? That's this one over here. Point slope again, right? Why? Because I don't have a nice intercept, right? Even if I continue the line, I might not get one. So I find my slope. What is it? Up 1, 2, 3, left 2. So it's 3 minus 2. And then I just put in my work. I can use either point. That one's -5, -1. So y plus 1, -3/2, x minus x plus 5. Everybody good? Any questions? C. C's an easy one. What is that point right there? 5, 0, right? What's that point right there? 5, negative 4. What's that point right there? 5, 3. What's the only thing that's the same? 5. So x equals 5. We all remember that from the 9th grade, right? He said, hopefully. What the heck happened there? You guys are seeing this, right? You're seeing this, right? I'm David Blaine. Crazy. Okay, so what's D? Y equals 9. Absolutely, of course it is. And E is the easy one. Why? Because I got my intercept right there, right? So all I got to do is find the slope. Now, the reason E is on there is because if I say to you guys right now, find this equation, we're going to get different answers. Because some of you are going to count right here, right? Did some of you look there? And some of you might go here. Right? This is 1/3. This is 2/7. This doesn't quite match, does it, Antonio?
Yeah, but
right?
The next one doesn't match at all.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. That's what I'm going to try to say. If you would do 1/3, because it looks like it might be okay, right? And you guys know as well as I do, photocopying is dodgy, right? You've seen what it looks like. It sometimes looks fine up here and looks crap on your paper, right? So what did Antonio do? He said, all right. He tried 1/3. Now, what do I always say? How many points do I say to use? 3. So this covers 2 of them, yeah? Then Antonio went to find a third. Up 1 over 1, 2, 3. And he noticed right here, if I zoom in even more, he noticed that right here, it's a little bit off, isn't it? And then if you go up 1 and 3, it's even more off. So 1/3 was not the best answer, yeah? Now, if you did that, and the question was out of 2, I'd probably give you 1.5 for not checking a third point, right? But if you check further, you see 2/7 is much better. Cool? Now, will it affect you? Not really. It's a half a mark out of a test out of 30. It's not going to make a difference, is it? Right? But remember, on a graph this big, being off by that much won't make any difference, right? But if you were doing something big in math, like long distances, like plotting a plane flight or something, and you were off by a little bit, that's going to screw up bigger. Understand? So y equaled, I like to say that as 2/7, but some of you might have said 1/3, whatever, x, and the y-intercept is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, -6. Cool? Everybody good? All right. Let me zoom this back down to normal size because 293% is a little big. And now that's 113, that's why. There we go. Okay. Okay, this question messes people up. I don't know why, but it does. What form is this in? General form, absolutely right. So we are looking for just a number. Cool? So, now please notice that the question is asking for a value of k, right? Now, in general form, k should be a whole number, yes? But for this question, I only want the value. Do you understand? So even if it comes up with a fraction or a decimal, we're going to leave it. Cool? All right. Now, the reason I don't really know why this messes kids up, because you can see that I have an x and a y, right? So just because c is missing, does that affect x and y? No. As long as we have an x and a y, can we put them in here? Yeah. And once we have this x and this y gone, then there's only one unknown, and it's easy to do, right? Okay. So we need some x and y's. What does a give me? Does it give me x's or y's? It gives me an x and a y. Why? Right. 3, 0 is what every x-intercept is, correct? And there's my x, and there's my y. So what do I get to do with those numbers and this equation? He waited silently, patiently. Put them in. What goes in for x? 3. So I've got 3 times 3. What happens to y? It disappears because 2 times 0 is 0, yes? So I'm actually going to write this one out completely because, that's what you should do. Minus k equals 0. 9 minus k equals 0. Minus k equals negative 9. K equals positive 9. Does everybody understand that? Now, you could have done a shortcut right here, right? If you move the k right here, you got 9 equals positive k, and you could finish the question right there. Is everybody good? Now, listen to me. This method works all the time. But some of you also may feel like moving this equation around and getting it so the y-intercepts are there. Like if you put this in slope-intercept form and you make k your y-intercept, you could do this. But I don't recommend that. I recommend using this method until you get a lot better at this. Everybody understand? So what's this point here? What's my x and y over here? Negative 2, 0. Right? So now we put that in the equation. What's 3 times negative 2? Negative 6. What happens to y? Disappears. Negative 6 minus k equals 0, right? Right? So the k moves over. K equals what? Negative 6. Everybody cool? Right? What's the key to remember to the whole thing from the last 2 units? X and y can go where? X and y, no matter what the equation is. If you've got a point, you've got an x and y for every form of every equation. Yeah? All right, so what's this one? What's my x and y here? 0, negative 3. Then does anything change? No. What happens to the 3? goes in for the y. What happens to 3x in the equation? Disappears. So now I've got 2 times negative 3 minus k equals 0. Negative 6 equals k. Everybody okay? Okay, and what about this one? 2 times what? 7 minus k equals 0. 14 minus k equals 0. What does k equal? 14. Is everybody good? Yeah? Okay, now look at E. Do you guys have E and F? You should, right? Yeah, because I'm reading that. That's weird. This all is your F, yeah? Okay, so what do I got there? I got an X and a Y now, don't I? Does anything change? No, but one of them's not going to disappear, is it? I'm going to have 3 times 2 plus 2 times negative 1 minus k equals what? 0. And then I do the math. 6 minus 2 minus k equals 0. 4 minus k equals 0. 4 equals k. Cool? And what's the last one? 3 times what? Negative 4 plus 2 times 3 minus k equals 0. Negative 12 plus 6 minus k equals 0. Negative 6 minus k equals 0. K equals negative 6. Everybody good? Yeah? 100%? Okay. So now, this little mini unit here, you guys should have a unit assignment, should be your next thing, yes? But I don't think I need you to do all of it. What time is it? It's 8:38, class goes till 9:10, yeah? Just let me get a look at that and decide what I would like for you guys to do on that. Does it start with slope 3, 2, 1? Yeah? Okay, this is what I really want you to do. All of this is really good practice, okay? But I believe you that most of you can do that whole first page. I don't believe I need to force you to do that. But number 2 is tricky. Check number 2. And 3. Make sure you do both 2 and 3. I would recommend 5, 6, 7 because they're practice for multiple choice. And I would try number 8. Number 2, 5, 6, 7, and 8 would be, if you can do them fairly well, then you're really in good shape for the last 2 units, graphing and writing. All right? If you want, you could do a little extra practice by doing number 1. Because number 1 would take like 5 seconds, right? Because you're just writing an equation. Because that's all it says. You got point slope for almost all of them, yeah? Everybody cool? All right. This is good practice for what's on your test tomorrow anyway, so I feel okay about this decision. All right? Go. I will walk around and be